In a world that just never seems to stop, a world that's always demanding more from us, more work, more stuff, more noise, have you ever just wanted to hit the pause button? To just stop? To strip everything away and figure out what's actually important? Well, that's the very heart of the question that Henry David Thoreau asked himself more than a century and a half ago. And he didn't just ask it, he went out and lived the answer. So let's dive into his incredible experiment at Walden Pond.
Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. This is where it all begins. Thoreau looked at the society around him in the middle of 19th century America, a place that was supposed to be all about progress and new beginnings. And this is what he saw. Not joy, not purpose, but quiet desperation. A kind of silent, simmering unhappiness that people carried with them every single day. And the really scary part? That line still feels so incredibly true for so many of us today. So you have to ask, right? What did he think was the root of all this unhappiness? He wasn't just pointing fingers. He was trying to diagnose the illness he saw in society. Now, Thoreau was a big part of the Transcendentalist movement, which really believed that people are naturally good and deeply connected to the universe and to nature. He felt that something in modern life was breaking that connection, and his diagnosis was pretty radical. The problem wasn't that people didn't have enough. It was that they were drowning in an abundance of the wrong things. Okay, so let's really dig into this idea of quiet desperation. This is Thoreau's powerful critique of a world he believed was being crushed, just absolutely weighed down by its own progress and its own possessions. He used this amazing phrase, factitious cares. Think about what that means. Fake worries, artificial anxieties. He saw people working themselves to the bone, not for real, genuine needs like food or shelter, but for luxuries that society had tricked them into thinking were necessities. He said their hands were so calloused and trembling from all this pointless work that they couldn't even pick the finer fruits of life. They were too busy earning a living to actually live. And this is where his critique gets really personal and really sharp. He's saying that the toughest, most ruthless boss you will ever have isn't some external person. It's you. It's the voice inside your own head pushing you to do more, earn more, be more. We become our own slave drivers, chained to ambitions and expectations that maybe, just maybe, we never actually wanted for ourselves in the first place. This right here perfectly captures his skepticism about progress. On one side, you have what he calls improved means. We invent amazing technology, right? We build railroads, we lay telegraph cables, we get faster and faster. But on the other side, you have an unimproved end. We never stop to ask why we're doing it. What's the point? He asks, what if the person in Maine and the person in Texas actually have nothing important to say to each other? We're so focused on the speed of communication that we forget to have something meaningful to communicate. Sound familiar? But here's the thing about Thoreau. He wasn't just a critic sitting on the sidelines. He decided to do something about it. He set up a one-man experiment to see if he could find an escape from this quiet desperation. He was going to try to live deliberately. And this became his mission statement. To live deliberately. This wasn't some casual camping trip or a weekend getaway. No, this was a serious philosophical project. The whole point was to consciously and intentionally peel back every single layer of society, all the expectations, all the clutter, to see if he could find the solid, essential core of what life is really all about. I mean, what a declaration. He wasn't just running away from something. He was running towards something. He wanted to meet life head-on, in its most raw and unfiltered form. To suck out all the marrow. That means getting to the absolute richest, most essential part of existence. He wanted to find out what life was really made of, even if it turned out to be difficult or unpleasant. He just wanted the truth. And to get to that truth, he had to get rid of basically everything. Just look at this list. This was his entire world of possessions. There's no clutter here. There are no distractions. It is the absolute bare minimum a person needs to survive and to think. He famously explained his 3 chairs, 1 for when he was alone, 2 for a friend visiting, and 3 for society. You see, everything had a clear and simple purpose. There was literally no space for anything that wasn't essential. So he gave up so much. The question is, what did he get in return? What he discovered was that when you clear out all that external clutter, you make room for something far more valuable. You make room for the rewards of simplicity. And here we find the beautiful central paradox of his entire experiment. The less he had, the richer he felt.
All of a sudden, he wasn't trapped in a job he didn't like just to afford things he didn't need. He wasn't wasting his precious days dusting and maintaining a bunch of stuff. His wealth became something you can't buy. His wealth was his time, his attention, his freedom to think, to walk, to observe, and to just be.
Living this way completely changed his relationship with time. For most of us, right, time feels like this relentless river that's always pushing us forward, always rushing. But for Thoreau, by slowing down, time became a place he could explore, a stream he could go fishing in. He could stand apart from the frantic rush and actually see it for what it was. And he realized that our busy, hurried lives are actually quite shallow when compared to the depth of eternity. And can you just imagine the peace of this? He swapped the constant noise of the village for an entirely new soundtrack. The background hum of his life was no longer gossip and industry. Instead, it was the call of a whippoorwill sitting on his roof, the haunting cry of a loon across the water, the sharp bark of a fox deep in the woods at night. He was tuning into a much older, much deeper conversation that nature is always having.
But you see, the journey out into the woods was really just the beginning. The real destination, the ultimate prize he was searching for, was the journey inward.
I absolutely love this phrase he invented, home cosmography. He's talking about mapping the cosmos inside yourself. Thoreau realized that we get so excited about exploring faraway lands, about traveling the globe, but the most vast, the most fascinating, and the most undiscovered territory is right inside our own minds. The quiet and solitude of the woods wasn't the point. It was the vehicle for that incredible inner exploration. And this is what he found on that inner journey. When you simplify your outer world, your inner world starts to make a lot more sense. The fundamental truths about life just become clearer. And the things that society tells us to fear, like being alone or not having a lot of money, they completely transform. Solitude stops feeling like loneliness and starts to feel like peaceful company. Poverty stops being about what you lack and becomes a kind of spiritual abundance. And he leaves us with this beautiful final thought. The sun is but a morning star. It's a reminder that every day holds the potential for a new beginning, a profound awakening. But that new day can only dawn if we are truly awake to see it, if we are present and conscious and deliberate in our own lives. So the question he leaves for us, for you and for me, is one to really sit with. What day is waiting to dawn for you?